If I told you that every time I have moved from one home to another, that it has absolutely annihilated not only my daily life, but my nervous system, would anyone else out there know what I was talking about?
I do. I totally understand. Everyone says moving is stressful. Ugh, no, being stuck in traffic is stressful.
Mm. Moving is crying because you can't find your toothbrush in a room full of boxes marked bathroom. Moving with ADHD is not being able to brush your teeth for 2 weeks after that because you got so upset about not being able to find the toothbrush in the first place.
Yeah. Well, it's probably too because you have like too many bathroom boxes. I mean, at least for me, it's when I figure out like, oh, wow, I actually do have way too much stuff. And not only do I have too much stuff, you find all these duplicates of things. Why do I have like 2 punch bowls or 3 croquet sets when I can't even remember the last time, if ever, I've used one?
The ADHD tax, and we kind of laugh about buying duplicates, but I'm currently moving and no chemicals, no liquids can go when you're putting your stuff into storage. And we brought all of those things with us, 8 bottles of Windex, 8. I don't keep some level of cleanliness that requires 8 bottles of Windex. Some people do. I'm not that chick. 8 bottles of Windex is going to last me 5 years, and I bet you $10 I'm going to buy another 2 at Costco between now and Halloween. But ADHD, moving can feel less like an exciting life event and more like a complete emotional and physical apocalypse. This is Angry on the Inside. I'm Jess.
And I'm Jeannine. We're both certified ADHD coaches, but this podcast isn't coaching.
It's not therapy and it's not medical advice.
It's just real, honest conversations about being women with late diagnosed ADHD and everything that goes along with it.
Take what resonates and leave the rest. Today, we're talking about moving, but we're also ready to unpack some baggage. Moving isn't just physically hard, it's emotionally and mentally straining.
It's the kind of hard where you're standing in the middle of the room staring at a box and your brain just quits.
Jeannine and I, both being women with late diagnosed ADHD, have experienced moves that caught us completely off guard and have both physically and emotionally brought us to our knees.
Especially for my last couple of moves, I know moving, it's a lot of work. It's tiring. It always is. But the last couple of times, just so much worse. I just wasn't prepared for how emotionally wrecked I was going to feel.
You have had the same impact on me as well. For a lot of years, I tried to approach it logically, but these last few years, becoming chronically ill and dealing with so much fatigue all the time as it is, and then trying to push, it's beyond overwhelming. I'd like to think it's just boxes or it's just organizing. But the reality for me, during this move that I'm going through right now, I can remember 2 months ago having 15 boxes filled and thinking, oh, maybe another 10 boxes and we're done. Not a problem. This is going great. And then I end up with literally 15,000 pounds of junk and duplicates and crap and clothes and boxes I haven't opened for the last 3 moves. 15,000 pounds being put into storage.
You're right about the logic. You're moving from one location to another. Other people seem to do it all the time. Seems like they don't have a problem. They just do it. They've got their checklist, they follow it, and they're done. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here in the middle of my bathroom having existential crisis, surrounded by all those things I've been meaning to deal with.
When you think about moving, it is one of the most executive function intensive things. It requires planning, prioritization, estimating time, making thousands of tiny decisions all day long, all simultaneously over an extended period of time, while also hoping if you're moving from one place to another, whatever the hell is going on, that it all falls into place exactly the way it's supposed to. When it doesn't, things can get really bad really quick.
Just thinking about it makes my palms sweat.
Right? It is a combination of all the things that our brains struggle with the most. And we're being asked to do a sustained, high demand executive function marathon. Our brains are like, I don't run marathons. I sprint for 15 minutes and then I need to lie down. And in all reality, people, if you see me running, you better run too. I'm not a runner nor a sprinter. I'm just saying.
Duly noted. But no, I know what you mean about it's just such constant work that I'll take a quick little break. Somehow lying down turns into like 3 hours and I'm binge watching Top Chef for the next day instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, every decision, every task takes energy, leading to ADHD paralysis because sheer volume of tasks causes a complete freeze. We know it's not laziness. We know it's not avoidance for fun. You're hitting a wall, and the overwhelm and the shutting down is the response to that.
From the outside, it looks like I should be unpacking boxes, but instead I'm sitting here watching Top Chef. But inside, full chaos.
You will cycle through it over and over. You will continue to cycle. Don't get me wrong. Moving, it's not some big negative pile that we are just avoiding at all costs. There are so many fun and good parts. That weird excitement phase.
Oh, you mean that my favorite part about moving, that fantasy phase?
Yes. I like to call the Pinterest phase, the new beginning phase, that phase where suddenly you're researching furniture for 6 hours and maybe fencing companies that are in the area in which you're looking for a home.
My favorite, the hours you get to spend at Home Goods because you got to buy the organizers, new towels, and you're just planning your ideal life.
You always need the new organizers.
God, yes.
Now you're in a new space. New space has new shapes. New shapes means new organizers because even though I won't throw out a previous organizer, that is one of my levels of hoarding, I am still going to go out and purchase more organizers because I love them so much.
You're planning your ideal life and you want to be organized. You're finally going to be organized because you're going to have your perfect home. Finally. This is it. All that's been missing is the right organizers. And now you're in Home Goods finding them.
Shit is left is repetitive and boring, and you're having to unpack those stupid boxes, and you're like, why the fuck did I even put this in the box? I will find trash in the box, right? I start out thinking I'm going to go ahead and purge. We're going to bring the minimum amount of things that we need because I don't have the energy to move this stuff. My husband does not have the energy. All of us were like, no. And yet still, I will find boxes that I have not opened and unpacked in years. There's a good chance I'm going to be like my mom because in her last move, she has been on top of it and she's going through every single box. She's reached this point in her 70s. She's ready to go every single box. She is going through it. She is finding boxes that she hasn't unpacked since we moved out on our own when I was like 6 or 7 years old. How crazy is that? 40 years still wasn't unpacked. All of that novelty is dopamine, and my ADHD brain loves both.
Mine does too, for sure. The reality is there's moving boxes that need to be unpacked, all that paperwork, all that, like you got to change your address forms and you got to set up all those new utilities and transfer everything and just figuring out where everything is supposed to go. It's exhausting just thinking about it and it's boring. The thing with moving is, I don't know if the packing is worse or the unpacking is worse.
The packing at least has a deadline, but I've also gotten to a point where many times I can't physically hit deadlines, which creates even more urgency and panic.
That urgency, I mean, it definitely creates momentum usually.
Mhm.
However, I know I have cried in boxes in the middle of the night trying to pack my kitchen more than once. And this is the times that my time blindness just blindsides me. Oh, no pun intended. How many times I get derailed by my time blindness. I once genuinely believed I could pack a whole house in like a day. Plus, I was convinced I could do it because I'd save the money by not having to pay the movers to do it. And in my mind, I could literally picture it. I was going to be brisk and efficient, and I'd finish before dinner. I seriously, in my heart of hearts, believed I was totally capable of doing it. And so imagine what it was like when reality caught up with me. Definitely not pretty. I mean, the whole thing, the last 48 hours of that move, I was completely unhinged, and I'm pretty sure my son is still scarred by it.
2 months ago, I would literally have been sitting in your lap in that situation. We had like 15 boxes done, and I was thinking if we did a room in an hour, we could do
That's
everything,
right. A room in an hour seems completely reasonable, does it not?
doesn't it?
It'll take an hour per box, not an hour per room. As I've just proven, my brain really struggles to estimate how much time and effort something can take. So it's nice having another person who can kind of keep me grounded and be like, really? You think you're going to pack your kitchen in an hour or two? Get a friend with you or put someone on speakerphone. You got
Like,
5 rooms? That's 5 hours.
right? And to me, that's realistic. I'm like, how long does it take if all the boxes are already together? At those moments is when we are feeling our weakest, but it is not a weakness. We know, maybe not in the moment, but we understand this is happening because my nervous system has been pushed to the capacity. I recognize that. But in the moment, in my reaction, a lot of times that is not what I am thinking. I am in despair, I am sad, and I am spiraling, and I am thinking, how did all of this go so wrong when I had so much energy and I was so fucking excited to begin with? And now we're coming down to that deadline and I'm just spiraling. That doesn't have the energy, but I'm the one that only has the time. And it's falling on me, which it used to, and it didn't matter. And I would figure it out. But now it's just very different. And I don't know, those tears, they just flow. And I used to say laugh to keep from crying, but I find that I cry more often on these more like insecure moments, these
Yeah.
more overwhelming, overpowering moments. And that's okay because I still find time to laugh and we still find time to joke around. Thank God I have Jeannine because I will tell you right now, I am for real going through a move. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
I mean, it's just very true. It's really impossible, I think, to remember that in the moment. But then I don't know about you. Once that move is over and that emergency is over, and suddenly every box just becomes a future you problem.
Oh, that is an excellent way of putting it.
Which is why future you hates me, or my future me hates me. Yeah, my future me is not a fan of present me. Let's just put it that way. The thing with a move too is that, like, I know the grief is coming. If you move, there will be grief.
There will be. It's not all bad. We're excited to move. There is positive change. And for as much as people say we don't like change, we really actually do. We really look
Well,
forward to it.
denied.
We get
Yeah.
excited about it, but you can still have all of that and have grief.
Maybe you're going to really miss the house you have or the friends where you are, the neighborhood. I think it's also just about those routines. Things are familiar. Um, you've got things, the routes you drive memorized. You could do it with your eyes closed. In your house where the keys go, you've got everything sorted out.
Right? And what that comes down to is the neural pathways. We get so exhausted and we're getting overwhelmed because in that new space, we are taking on so many new neural pathways to be created and to understand. We are making so many decisions. We have gone from autopilot, which allows us to have capacity over other things in our day, to having to look at all of those minute details again and relearn them and literally rewire our brains. And it's kind of like what it makes me think of is, you go into these old houses and they have these giant wads of wires everywhere, and some are
Hmm.
disconnected and some are connected, some are hot, some are not. And you got to go and figure out which ones work and which ones don't and kind of start from square one. That's exhausting. It's just like getting a new job. I used to always tell my employees, I told my kids, when you get a new job, remember, you're going to be exhausted for the first 2 to 4 weeks, no matter what. And be exhausted. Don't get discouraged. Yet I don't look at it through that lens with moving. And maybe I should, now that I'm saying it externally, that exhaustion is going to come, that grief is going to come, and that is part of it. Because your brain is fucking tired. And your brain isn't just tired because the novelty wore off. It's not just tired because of this, that, or the other. It's not a cop out. It's the case that it is working triple time, just trying to set up and trying to understand and recognize what your new normal is.
If you lived in your last place a really long time, you spent years building all those workarounds and those systems just to function. And I think especially for women later, diagnosed later in life, like we were, we really depended on those. We didn't know we were building them, but we were. And then you lose them all overnight. And that is just generally destabilizing. And one of the things it said was your brain, how our brain always fills in things, like always wants to know answers and things. And so part of grief is your brain going, I come into my house and my husband's going to be sitting in that chair and they're not there. And your brain gets like, wait, why aren't they there? This is what
It's
it's
so
supposed to
interesting.
know. And it talks about how, and I had this like happen with my dog. How many times did I see something in the corner of my eye and that's Bear? Oh, I see something on the floor. That's Bear. Well, Bear has been passed away 8 years ago, but sometimes my brain still sees a shadow or something when I'm like, oh, that's Bear. Because your brain is, and I'm not articulating it well enough, but it was one of those things, especially with, how you and I've been learning so much about the brain, that it was like, oh, it makes total sense. Two,
Now
or
that
like
does make
how
total sense.
you could rearrange the furniture in your dining room, but you'll walk into the dining room and still swerve the other way because you moved your dining room. So now instead of you can walk straight through your dining room, but it used to be that the dining table was straight in the middle of it. Your brain has a really hard time just going straight because it's like we have to jog because the dining table's going to be there, even though the dining table's not there. But it was, yeah. Anyway, I thought it was just really interesting.
No, I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I can totally see why that would be linked to grief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your brain, well, yeah. And I mean, it was, anyway, now I can't remember the rest. I just remember that was something that was just like, wow. But it was, again, one of those books where I don't know if I've ever read a book like cover to cover. I usually just kind of read them in different sections, parts, flip them open to what's interesting to me at the time. But anyway, I'll have to find the book. It was a good book.
Well, considering that we do a podcast where we constantly say, take what resonates and leave the rest, I don't think you have to read the entire book to know that it resonated with you. Because before the move, your house was basically running on autopilot. You didn't think about where the plates were. Your brain already knew. You didn't think about where you kept the dog food, the extra toilet paper, the measuring cups. Don't get me wrong, half the time we can't find the shit that we know where it's actually at, but you still had that idea where you're like, I know it's at least supposed to be here.
Because, I mean, you could just move around your environment pretty automatic, like on autopilot. But then suddenly every tiny task, it's like a fucking scavenger hunt. Where are those damn measuring cups?
And if you're already overwhelmed, those little moments add up fast. I so have. And it just makes me so angry on the inside. I don't even know why, but it does. But even though you're losing your map, realistically, your brain is literally remapping itself. That's where these sparks of anger come from, where these sparks of frustration come from. We're having these sort of, I don't want to say ghost thoughts, but like they're in there. We have a certain idea of what we're walking into. We are all well known in the neurodiverse community of having certain expectations of how things are supposed to be because we run them through our brains over and over and over again. And so we go from knowing exactly what our environment is going to give to us to being completely unaware of everything that's going on.
I don't think people realize how comforting that map is until it's gone. If you think about it, again, especially the longer you lived in somewhere, the more ingrained that map is. You know where the grocery store was. You knew the fastest route home. You knew all the shortcuts. You knew where the doctor was, your pharmacy, your kid's school. And of course, most importantly, you knew where the Target was. Just everything was familiar and you didn't even have to think about it.
And then one day, none of it's familiar.
You're using GPS to go everywhere. You're missing turns. You're getting lost, driving past places because you don't recognize them.
That can feel really destabilizing for all of us, for any of us, even on the best day, because our brains are relying heavily on familiarity and environmental cues to allow us to have capacity to get through the other parts of our day.
You think you're just learning a new neighborhood, but what it feels like is it's just losing hundreds of tiny pieces of certainty all at once, and you have to rebuild them all.
And all of those little certainties are often what help us function. They reduce our decisions, they reduce our cognitive load, they make life for us far easier.
I remember, again, the last move of crying because I got lost coming home from the grocery store. Who gets lost coming home from the grocery store? We usually know exactly where that is.
It's like when they change Windows on your computer and the update comes through and all of a sudden you don't know where the fuck anything is.
iPhone updates, Jiminy Christmas. And then suddenly everything's moved around. Remembering to step back and give yourself a chance to regroup.
Moving is hard. If you're in the middle of it and you're struggling, it's not failure. It's a normal response to an abnormally demanding situation, to a situation with an abundance of demanding priorities. When you're in this situation where there's so many demanding items that are competing against one another.
So if you're listening to this while surrounded by boxes, we have definitely been there.
I am there right now. Just kidding. All my shit's in storage. I will be back there soon. Moving is one of the biggest transitions you experience, and transitions are a space where we tend to not give ourselves grace. Like when we're in the office, we think that we need to immediately answer someone's question or immediately have something put away or immediately be understanding our new environment. And that's not true. So when we say give yourself grace, transition time is also grace. It's okay to step back. It's also okay to stop. If this episode resonated with you, send it to another woman who's currently surrounded by boxes and questioning every life choice that got her here.
Until next time, remember, you're not alone and you're not the only one who's angry on the inside.